The plains breathe a fragile calm before the storm. Grass ripples under the weight of gathering clouds, silver light flickering across the horizon. A zebra herd grazes in the open, unaware of how quickly serenity can turn to chaos. In the distance, thunder murmurs, a warning swallowed by the wind. Among them, a small foal wobbles beside its mother, his legs too new for the earth that will soon betray him. Nature holds its breath, waiting. The rhythm of hooves syncs with the approaching tremor of rain, each beat a countdown to disaster. Dust rises, mingling with the scent of ozone and fear. It's here, between calm and collapse, that the wild tests its own heart, where instinct must choose between life and love. Rain becomes a curtain, blurring line and distance until the world feels smaller. Closer, dangerously intimate. The herd huddles together as thunder rolls through their bones. Beneath their hooves, the earth softens into deceit, a trap forming in silence. Water rushes through invisible veins in the soil, carving pits where safety once lay. Mara moves cautiously, calling softly to her foal, each step a prayer that the ground will hold. But the plains have turned treacherous, and every instinct screams a warning too late to hear. A sudden cry cuts through the storm. The sound is small, sharp, full of terror. The foal's slender legs thrash in thickening mud, his body sinking faster than he can comprehend. Mara's heart lurches, her instincts igniting like fire through her veins. She pushes forward, her hooves slipping in the same treacherous ground. Ruka bellows across the rain, rallying the herd to scatter. But Mara doesn't move. Lightning fractures the sky, freezing the moment in blinding clarity. A mother, a child, and the merciless mud that swallows both love and fear whole. Panic spreads through the herd like lightning through grass. The air is thick with rain, sound, and movement, life scattering before death. Ruka circles them once, torn between leadership and love, before turning toward higher ground. His call cuts through the downpour, urging them onward. Yet Mara's cry anchors him mid-stride. In her voice lies something ancient, a defiance that no storm can silence. He stops, muscles trembling, and looks back toward the sinking foal. For the first time, instinct begins to falter. The world narrows to breath and heartbeat. Mara stands over her trapped foal, rain beating against her back, her body trembling between hope and surrender. The mud pulls, slow and relentless, like time itself refusing mercy. She calls once more, a sound that pierces the storm, a call not for help, but for witness. From the ridge above, Ruka's ears twitch. He turns, eyes burning with recognition. Behind him, one by one, shadows stir. The herd begins to turn back. The storm deepens, swallowing all light. The plains become an ocean of shifting shadows and liquid soil. Mara's calls grow hoarse, each cry blending into thunder's growl. The foal's struggle weakens. His breath comes shallow, terrified. Above them, Ruka stands defiant against the storm's weight, torn between instinct and an impossible duty. Around him, the herd hesitates, muscles twitching, eyes glinting with fear. One step could mean death, one moment could mean salvation. The Savanna watches, silent witness to their hesitation. Nature demands retreat, but something older, something sacred, roots them to the earth. The first to move is Ruka, the second, the herd. Together, they begin their descent. Each step becomes a negotiation with gravity. Hooves sink, pull free, sink again. Mud clings like a living thing, dragging their strength toward the earth. The herd forms a cautious arc around the trapped foal, their bodies trembling with the effort to stay upright. Mara refuses to move from his side, bracing her body as a barrier against the torrent. Ruka positions himself near her flank, his breathing loud above the rain. Their eyes meet, a silent pact forged through shared defiance. The storm, sensing their unity, rages harder. The mud's grip tightens, and the foal's cries fade into ragged gasps. Time stretches, suspended between desperation and surrender. Mara's chest heaves as she presses closer, her muzzle nudging the child's face, urging him to fight. Ruka stomps beside her, breaking the surface layer, trying to loosen the trap. The herd joins him, their hooves striking rhythmically, breaking the crusted edges of the pit. Each impact sends water and soil flying, thunder blending with the sound of defiance. The storm seems to hesitate. A single heartbeat of quiet before the next roar. Then the earth gives way. A portion of the slope collapses beneath them, sending mud and bodies sliding in a chaotic rush. Screams, rain, and thunder fuse into one dissonant cry. Mara's body disappears in the surge. Ruka charges forward, teeth bared, forcing through the mire to find her. For a moment, nothing moves but the rain. Then, movement. A head rises, gasping, coated in mud and fear. Mara drags herself upright, shaking violently. Beneath her, the foal's small eyes blink open, covered but alive. Survival, fragile as breath, flickers again. The storm begins to shift, its rage giving way to a softer, heavier rain. The herd gathers around the pit's rim, exhausted but unyielding. Together, they form a circle, a living wall against the darkness. Mara stands guard beside her foal, her flank pressed to his as his breathing steadies. Ruka paces along the edge, his muscles coiled, searching for strength that remains only in will. Above them, lightning flickers for the last time, its echo fading into silence. The worst has passed. But the fight for life has only begun. The storm has passed, but the savanna is restless. Mist curls over the soaked grass, carrying whispers of movement. The herd shifts uneasily, ears pricking at distant growls rolling through the damp air. Predators! The scent of fear is as sharp as the smell of wet earth. Mara shields her foal, her sides streaked with drying mud that cracks with each breath. Ruka scans the horizon, eyes narrowing at the silhouettes slipping through the haze. Hyenas. Drawn by the sound, the struggle, the promise of weakness. The herd's circle tightens, hooves churning shallow pools. They've survived the storm, only to face a new kind of hunger. The kind that watches, waits, and learns. The first cry cuts the air. Sharp, guttural, close. The herd jolts, bodies colliding in panic. Ruka rears, driving the younger zebras toward the dry ridge. Mud sprays in violent arcs as they move, their hooves pounding in desperate rhythm. Mara nudges her foal forward, each step a battle against exhaustion. Behind them, shadows streak through the grass. Predators press closer, their laughter echoing like thunder's ghost. The herd splinters and reforms, guided by instinct and Ruka's furious command. The plains become a battlefield of motion, fear, and survival. The chase is relentless. Each heartbeat feels louder than the thunder before. The herd surges toward higher ground, splashing through flooded grasslands that glint like liquid glass. Tano stumbles, his small legs giving way, but Mara circles back, pressing her muzzle against his flank until he rises again. Ruka slows to block the rear, charging at the predators with a ferocity born from something deeper than fear. The air fills with screams, half fury, half terror, as nature's balance tips between hunter and hunt. And yet, within this chaos, something ancient burns unity against the impossible. For a fleeting moment, silence returns. The herd crests the ridge, breath ragged, flanks heaving. The hyenas pause below, reluctant to climb the slippery slope. Mist coils between them like a living barrier. Mara lowers her head to nudge her trembling foal. His tiny chest rises and falls in uneven rhythm. Around them, the herd regroups. each zebra slick with rain, eyes wide with the shared knowledge of what could have been lost. The horizon stretches endlessly ahead, still veiled in smoke-colored dawn. I've escaped death, but its scent lingers. As dawn breaks, the rain eases into a soft drizzle, and light spills across the plains like forgiveness. The herd stands together, their bodies still trembling, their unity forged anew in mud and blood. Ruka steps closer to Mara and the foal, lowering his head until their muzzles touch. A silent vow sealed by breath. Around them, the sky opens, revealing streaks of gold through the last of the storm's remnants. Life continues, fragile and magnificent, carrying the scars of its own survival. The plains, once drowned in fury, exhale peace again. The morning sun emerges slow and heavy, draping the plains in molten gold. Steam rises from the soaked earth, turning the savanna into a breathing mirage. The herd grazes cautiously, though every twitch of grass keeps their nerves taut. The foal rests near Mara's side, his small chest rising with newfound steadiness. Yet in his eyes, fear still flickers. A memory of sinking and silence. Ruka watches from a distance, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the storm retreated, as if waiting for it to return. He senses something unspoken among them, a shift in the wild's rhythm. Instinct demands they move on, but something deeper pulls them to stay. It's no longer about survival. It's about reclaiming the ground where mercy was born. Ruka steps closer to the foal, his movements slow, deliberate. The herd quiets, heads lifting from the grass, breaths synchronized. In the soft light, Mara shifts aside, not in surrender, but in trust. Ruka lowers his muzzle, brushing the foal's neck. The gesture, small yet sacred, ripples through the herd like wind through reeds. Unity is not commanded here, it is chosen. Around them, the morning hums with renewal. Even the scars of mud that crust their coats shimmer like symbols of survival. In this silence, the wild reveals its rarest secret. Compassion is as instinctive as fear. The day unfolds in layers of heat and stillness. Mud hardens into patterned mosaics beneath their hooves, remnants of chaos now etched into the earth like memory. The herd begins to move again, slowly, deliberately, each step reclaiming dignity from the storm's wreckage. Mara glances back at the hollow where her child nearly vanished. It's now just a shallow pool glinting with sky. Ruka pauses, lowering his head briefly in acknowledgement. A silent farewell to the place that tested their souls. The wind carries the scent of renewal, and with it, the unspoken vow that what they endured will echo long after the rain is gone. By midday, the herd finds a new grazing ground, a hill crowned with acacias, dry and firm beneath their hooves. Safety, for now. The foal runs clumsily through the grass, each stride a small victory. Laughter seems to ripple through the herd in subtle gestures, nudges, flicking tails, the ease of breath. Yet the plains never rest. Far to the west, vultures wheel above unseen death. Life here is never free of shadow. Ruka lifts his head, ears twitching, but his stance softens. Danger will come again. It always does. But today they've learned that courage is not the absence of fear. It's choosing to stand in it. As dusk returns, the plains glow with dying fire. Shadows stretch long across the earth, and the herd gathers close once more. Mara rests beside her foal, their bodies pressed in rhythmic stillness. Ruka stands guard, his silhouette framed against a horizon painted in crimson and smoke blue. The air hums with insects and distant thunder. Gentler this time, almost like memory revisiting. The mud has dried, the wounds have closed, yet their bond has deepened into something unbreakable. Tonight, the wild sleeps without fear, and the stars rise over a herd reborn. Night drapes the plains in a velvet hush, broken only by the pulse of distant thunder. The herd sleeps in uneven rhythm, ears flicking, breaths shallow. Beneath the lull, the ground whispers of something stirring. A tremor runs through the earth, faint but alive. Mare's eyes open, scanning the horizon painted in silver moonlight. Ruka stands already awake, the faintest shift of his weight betraying unease. The storm is past, yet the air feels charged again. Different, colder. The land remembers every wound, and sometimes it answers back. In the stillness, the herd begins to rise, drawn by an instinct that senses the invisible. The struggle, it seems, is not over. Nature's test always comes in twos. A sound cuts the night. A low, resonant crack, followed by the slow moan of moving earth. The dried mud begins to shift, breaking apart beneath the weight of the herd. Panic erupts again as the ground splits into shallow fissures, releasing pockets of trapped water and gas from below. The land, still wounded from the storm, collapses in pockets of quicksand-like sludge. Tano stumbles, hooves sliding near a soft edge. Mara surges forward, blocking his fall with her flank. Around them, chaos unfolds once more. The Savanna reclaiming what it lent. The herd must move or be taken. Ruka bellows, driving the herd toward firmer ground. Hooves thunder across fissures that gape open beneath them. Mara stays behind again, unwilling to leave her child. The mud grips at her legs, heavier this time, sucking harder with every motion. The night becomes a blur of breath and struggle. Tano cries out, trying to move, but sinking fast. Ruka turns back once more, his eyes flashing white in the moonlight. He charges through the mire, his weight breaking the fragile crust as he reaches them. This is no longer instinct. It is rebellion against nature itself. Together they push, pull, and fight for a patch of solid earth that refuses to come. The herd turns back once more, drawn not by command but by courage. They form a semicircle at the pit's edge, stamping their hooves to pack the soil firm. The rhythm becomes primal, synchronized, echoing across the night like a heartbeat. Mara heaves, Ruka braces, and Tano struggles upward through the pull of death. With one last push, the mud releases him, expelling the foal onto firmer ground. Silence follows. Then the sound of wind, soft and trembling. The herd freezes in awe. Against every rule written into their blood, they have saved one of their own. Again, exhaustion settles like fog. The herd stands unmoving, steam rising from their flanks into the cool air. Ruka lowers his head, eyes half-lidded. Every breath, a victory over the elements. Mara leans into him, her body trembling but unbroken. Tano lies between them, breathing shallow yet steady. The plains are quiet now, their fury spent, their spirit awake. Above, the stars shimmer through thinning clouds, reflecting off pools of water left by chaos. The herd remains still, bound by a new law, older than survival. They have crossed from instinct into empathy, and they are forever changed. Morning rises slow and trembling over the scarred plain. The storm's chaos lies buried beneath a hush so complete it feels sacred. The herd stands scattered across the golden grass, mud-dried and hollow-eyed. The foal breathes weakly, alive, but fading. His small body trembles, each inhale a battle against the weight of exhaustion. Mara stays pressed beside him, her head low, her breath steady as a shield. Ruka watches, his stance rigid yet weary, his gaze fixed on the foal as though willing him to rise. The herd senses it too. The fight isn't over. Survival has been won, but now mercy must do what strength cannot. The Savanna for once seems to hold its breath for one fragile light. A breeze rolls through the grass, lifting the smell of damp soil and crushed wildflowers. Ruka steps closer, lowering his head until his breath mingles with Mara's. Together they nudge the foal gently, coaxing movement back into limbs heavy with fatigue. One by one, the others join, touching, brushing, calling softly. Their unity becomes a rhythm, a pulse of quiet determination. The foal stirs, eyes flickering open, legs trembling as he tries to rise. The moment hangs suspended, fragile as morning mist. Every muscle, every heart in the herd seems to rise with him. The Savanna, in all its wild indifference, witnesses a miracle of persistence. When the foal finally stands, the world seems to exhale. Mara lets out a trembling call that echoes across the open plain, half relief, half prayer. The herd answers in harmony, a rising chorus carried by the wind. Even Ruka, stoic and scarred, lowers his head as though in reverence. The morning light scatters through their striped coats, transforming mud into metallic gleam. In that glow, their suffering becomes something beautiful. Proof that life in the wild is not only about endurance, but about grace. The herd forms around the foal, like a living fortress, facing the horizon as one. What once was peril now feels like rebirth. The herd begins to move again, slow at first, then steady. Ruka leads from the front, his hooves breaking the crust of drying earth. Mara follows close behind, with Tano pressed against her side. Each step leaves dark prints on the pale ground, a trail that glimmers under sunlight. The rhythm of their movement feels ceremonial, a return not just to migration, but to purpose. Overhead, vultures drift in lazy circles, their shadows gliding harmlessly across the herd. The world, once hostile, now seems to bow before them. Even the wind moves softly, as if it too remembers the sound of their defiance. By midday, the herd reaches the far ridge where the earth turns firm and dry again. The foal walks unaided now, still unsteady but determined, his movements echoing the rhythm of his mother's. Ruka stops at the crest and looks back. Below, the hollow where the mud had trapped them gleams like a scar, a reminder, not a wound. The herd pauses beside him, silent, breathing in the wide horizon. For the first time in days, the air feels clean. In the wild, no moment lasts forever, but some leave marks that outlive memory. As they move on, their shadows stretch across the plains, symbols of survival stitched into the heart of the Savanna. Dawn returns softer than memory. The sky, washed clean by storms, unfolds in watercolor shades of rose and gold. Dew clings to the grass like pearls on silk. The herd moves quietly through the awakening light, their bodies gleaming, their breath ghosting in the cool air. Mara grazes, while keeping Tano close, her movements measured, maternal, at peace. Ruka trails slightly behind, his steps heavy yet calm, the burden of leadership easing with the morning's warmth. Every sound, the wind, the rustle, the gentle calls, feels sacred, as though the world itself has exhaled in relief. For the first time, the plains are still. No fear, no storm, only the quiet rhythm of life reclaimed. The foal ventures ahead now, legs steadier, eyes bright with curiosity. Each movement carries the memory of struggle, transformed into grace. Mara watches him with quiet pride, her body relaxed yet always aware. Ruka steps forward, his silhouette cutting through the rising light. Together they walk, not as leader and follower, but as equals bound by survival. Around them the herd spreads wide, the pattern of their stripes blending into a living tapestry that mirrors the shifting light. The Savanna sings its morning song, and the scars of the storm dissolve into beauty. As the sun climbs higher, shadows shorten, and the plains awaken in full voice. Crickets, distant birds, the steady hum of renewal. The herd halts near an acacia grove, the the same type that once offered shelter before the storm. The cycle closes, yet everything is changed. Tano nuzzles his mother, then bounds toward the shade, his small hooves beating against dry earth that now holds firm. Ruka watches, the corners of his mouth softening in what could almost be called a smile. Nature has given, taken, and given again. In this fragile moment, balance feels possible, if only for a breath. From the ridge, Ruka looks back once more toward the distance where the mud still glistens faintly in the sun. What was once a pit of despair now lies serene, woven into the fabric of the plains. It is a place reborn, just as they were. The herd moves beyond it, their bodies shimmering like light on water. Life in the wild never pauses. It flows, relentless, forgiving, eternal. The storm is gone, but its echo remains in every heartbeat, every step, every shadow that trails them. Survival, Ruka realizes, is not about resisting the wild, it's about belonging to it. The day wanes into amber quiet, the plains breathing in rhythm with the setting sun. Mara and Ruka stand side by side, watching Tano chase the wind through swaying grass. Around them, the herd settles in tranquil unity, their silhouettes fading into dusk. The air hums with the pulse of the earth, steady, alive, eternal. Above, the first stars appear, glittering over the wild that has both tested and redeemed them. In the hush between daylight and dark, one truth remains: the Savanna's heart beats not in its storms or silence, but in the courage of those who endure both. Mercy, it seems, is nature's fiercest force of all.